Okay, so about 1 year ago, I got this wonderful desk from Danger Fox. It's got 24 rack spaces in it, and I had two things to put in it. I had my interface, and then I had a 2-channel warm audio 273. And then to make it seem less ridiculous, I put 2 power conditioners in it. So I had 4 of the 24 spaces taken up. Now, 1 year later, my desk is complete. It is full, and I have filled it up with the things that I want to be in there. One of those things was to completely fill up an entire 8-rack bucket with the Warm Audio 73 mic pre. So what I did is I combined both the Warm Audio 273 EQs, which are the full channel strips with the EQs of the 73, with the 273s, which are just the mic pre with a high pass filter and a line trim, but there's 2 channels in a single rack space. So now between both of them, I have 10 channels in a 8-channel bucket of my desk, creating the perfect mini console of Warm Audio 73s. Now, why did I go with 10 channels of the same mic pre? Well, one, this is my favorite mic pre. Now, if I had, the money to spend $4,000 on one Neve 1073 times 10, it's 40 grand. I'm not gonna do that. Not to mention, vintage pre's are finicky and require a lot of maintenance, and I'm not the guy who's gonna be doing maintenance on my stuff. So we went with the Warm Audio because I actually did a shootout between these and the Neve pre's a few years back. I couldn't tell the difference. Let me say this. I couldn't tell which one was the Neve. My friend who brought in the Warm Audio couldn't tell the difference between the Neve, and my friend who owned the Neves couldn't tell the difference. So with that test being done, my logical outcome of that is, well, of course, just get a bunch of these and make a little mini console, and I have like a little, mini 73 console. So long story short, I now have it, and I like the fact that I have 10 of the same pre's because when I record drums, I'm probably using 10 mics. Maybe if I'm going overkill, I'll do 11 or 12, but 10 is plenty. So with all of that being said, let's mic some stuff up and make some recordings using all of these 73s from Warm Audio. I'm excited. Take 2. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna record drums, and I'm actually gonna do like a drum stacking thing. So I'm gonna record drums for a song, but I'm gonna layer in some extra drums, and it's gonna be huge. Okay, so I'm gonna fire up the mic pre's for the mics on the kit, and I'm gonna use some EQs on the snare top and on my toms because I'm using dynamic mics on my toms, and I want there to be just a little bit extra color on the low end and on the high end of my toms. Okay, so this song, the intro of it, has 2 drum kits, which is why I did the full take of the full kit and then layered in the tom overdub. Now, you may have noticed on the tom overdub, I actually had the room mics pulled up a little higher in the playback side of it. And then when I add in the full kit, it just builds so well together and sounds just absurdly huge. I gotta admit, going from first 2 channels to 6 channels to 10 channels, every single channel made such a massive difference. Being able to use the EQs, I'm very, very satisfied with how these EQs are, because the selling point for these, with me at least, was not the EQs, because I didn't necessarily care that much. It was the preamp and the way the preamp sounds with drums. Even just using the same preamp all the way through on the full kit and doubled, it sounds beautiful. So what I did with the guitars is I started with my Strat Squire. It's a Squire that I actually got from Green Day when I was 15 years old. But I swapped out some pickups on it. It sounds cool and it's set up really, really well. But I started with that through the Supro, and I think maybe I had a boost in there. I used 2 boost pedals. The EP boost gives a really nice, full, rich boost to the tone, and then the Spark actually gives it more spark, if you will, or more of a brighter bite to the boost, which has been really nice. And so I doubled the chords, because it's just dropped the 3 chords, and then I actually quadrupled the guitar. So I had double left and right of the chords on the Squire, and then I took this Guild guitar and I quadrupled them. So there's 2 guitars, both on the left and the right side, for the rhythm chords on the intro. And the way I mic'd it is with a 57, SM57 classic guitar amp microphone, and a Royer 121 right next to each other. So I placed the mic so that the microphones were lined up to where they had a very coherent phase relationship, basically meaning I'm getting the full picture of what the amp actually sounds like. Now the 57 gives you a little bit more of that mid-range bite, and that 121 is just huge, sounds so full and so monstrous. And by using 2 guitars and doubling both the left take and the right take, it sounds like this. So for both mics, I'm using the WA273 with no EQ. This is just the dry preamp and the line trim, no high pass filter or anything. Okay, so the way that I recorded these guitar takes is I did basically an individual guitar, right? So the Squire, I recorded it into 2 mono audio tracks, one 57, one 121 audio track. And then I took those 2 audios and I summed them or bussed them together to a mono aux. And I would call that electric guitar left, right? So the rhythm guitar that's on the left side. And I did the same thing for the guitar on the right. And that lets me grab the faders for each audio track and change the blend going to the aux or to the bus, right? So that I can change the character of how each take fits together, which is really, really nice, and a perk of using 2 mics on a source like that. So I have my electric guitar left bus and electric guitar right bus, and then I doubled them with the Guild. So same thing, I recorded it. I think maybe I tweaked the pedals a little bit, but I recorded it the same way: 2 audio tracks Guild left, 2 audio tracks Guild right, and bus those to the same 2 left and right buses and just change the blend. I think on the Guild I mostly used the 121 because it's got a lot more high end, and I wanted it to be darker. Because I'm using a heavier tone for the rhythm section, I didn't want it to eat into the upper mid-range and upper frequency register. So the rhythm guitars sound surprisingly great. I mean, and not that I didn't think they were going to sound great, but I'm using my old Squire that I got when I was 15, and this Guild, which is a great guitar, but it's just a strange combination, an unusual combo of guitars. But the Supro sounds amazing. I used a lot of the overdrive on the gain channel, and I don't think I used any reverb, and I kept the EQ pretty flat, kind of turned down a bit. The stacking the guitars like that is a great technique to get a huge sounding rhythm section. I think that's a pretty common rock production technique. And then for the lead guitar, I used the Biodynamic M160 alone. I was going to try and set up some rooms, but I wanted to see how it sounded on its own. It's a ribbon mic. It's a different ribbon mic, so it's got a little bit different color and character. And I wanted to use it because that lead line or riff, whatever it is, just repeats. The way it sounds on the original is it sounds like it has some room mics or some sort of IR impulse response going on. So the way that I went to replicate the tone is I actually used the Walrus Audio vibrato chorus and just messed around with the sort of character of the chorus and the vibrato, and then I put some reverb. Once I recorded it in, I put reverb on it, and let me see what reverb I used. The original Spaces plugin, not the Spaces 2 or whatever the new one's called, the QL Spaces from East West, and I'm using Studio 2, which is their rock room. It sounds amazing for this kind of music, actually. So yeah, it turned out really, really well. So this has been a lot of fun. I am absolutely in love with these mic pre's. I'll put the links to both of these, the 273 EQ and the 273, down in the description. This is sort of a look into how I would go about reproducing something, because this is a song by another band and I'm just sort of recreating it to try out some products and try out some production techniques, and I just love sharing that kind of stuff with my friends. So if you like it, subscribe to the channel. You can hit the like button. I'm actually going to be launching a membership on my website at ANDREWMASTERSmusic.com, where I'm going to give a more in-depth look at some of these projects and some bonus content, and down the line there's going to even be bonus content from the studio tours and much more. Warm Audio sent me a couple of these units to use because I'm just a huge fan of them. I actually asked them for it. This is not like a paid sponsor. They have no influence on my opinions, or they didn't ask me to say anything. That's it. Hit the like button if you guys like these videos. Let me know what you guys think of everything down below. I'm going to be putting up a few other videos on guitar and stuff this month, and I'm going to be using these pre's for the foreseeable future. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take two. Take two of that. Okay. Again.